It's me, Dax, also known as Nicole DeBoer. You are listening to Random Trek.
Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Random Trek. I am your matrimonially, blissfully happy captain, Christopher Ingle, joined as always by my first officer, the man who is encompassed by anger and love, whatever the most strong emotions are, Commander Brennan, the mystical Mar. Brennan, how we doing this week?
I'm excited for this one.
Well, we are taking a look at Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3, Episode 2, Wedding Bell Blues. I loved this when I knew it was coming. And when I watched it, I enjoyed it. When I watched it again, I enjoyed it even more. Who knew that a wedding episode could be so much fun?
Yeah, that's true.
Let's get into this and talk about some of our favorite things about this, or our favorite people, I should say. So, it's been 3 months since the incident with the Gorn, and the Enterprise has been at Starbase 1 getting repairs done. The crew is beginning to celebrate the Federation Centennial, their 100th anniversary. And we get Spock's perception. Spock is doing a log, and he's really excited, if Spock can get excited, that Chapel is returning soon. And they've been on a break, kind of, and he's really hoping to make a grand gesture for her. He's learning to dance. He's learning to dance with La'an, and it's adorable, and it's great. But following her fellowship with Dr. Corby, we see Chapel coming back with Dr. Corby as her date. Uh-oh. And this really disappoints Spock. He wanted to rekindle that relationship with her. He ends up in the galley. They're having drinks, telling stories about how they met, and Corby's just so perfect for her, and she's so happy, and Spock's not. Spock goes over to get a drink from a Vulcan bartender, but that Vulcan bartender may not be so Vulcan, because though in reflections we see a Vulcan, what we see is someone completely different. And so he gives Spock a drink. Spock wakes up the next morning, and he wakes up next to Nurse Chapel.
Yeah.
And it's their wedding day, or going to be their wedding day. And so the whole day is reset, but now Spock and Chapel are supposed to get married. Interesting. So when they wake up, we see the same unfamiliar being, only now he's an Andorian wedding planner. But strangely enough, Corby is aware of the changes. And he confronts Spock, who Spock actually gains his memories back after he punches Corby. Something I think he's wanted to do, just in general. And they both discover that they now remember, and they know this isn't right. This isn't supposed to be that way. But they can't convince everybody. And every time they do, something else wedding-related gets in the way, and it stops. It stops being able to do what they want. So, we are then confronted by this entity, who for the moment we're going to call the entity, who comes to Spock and says, hey, listen, you don't really have a choice. You need to get married. I'm the wedding planner. You're getting married. And he keeps snapping his fingers and things happen, like a shrinking Spock. Have we ever seen a creature in Star Trek that changes things with a snap of a finger? We'll get to that in a second. They end up at the wedding chapel, and Corby says, I was threatened too, that if we don't, he's going to kill everybody. And that's not good. No bueno. So they start to do the ceremony. And Spock and her begin to do their vows. Spock begins, but he recites a poem that Corby read to her. And looking into his eyes, all of a sudden, Chapel realizes this isn't right. Something's not right here. And they decide they're not going to get married, but the entity isn't happy. Sam Kirk speaks up. Corby speaks up, and the entity turns Corby into a bulldog, and it's adorable. A bulldog in a blue tux. Dress tux. But nobody realizes this. No one else sees this. It happens right in front of everybody, and no one else pays attention. Well, they both decide, no, this isn't going to work. It's not going to happen. And he throws a temper tantrum like a child and starts going, you're going to die, and you're going to die, and you're going to die, and you in the back, you have a nice smile. You're not going to die. Then this ball of light appears and speaks and says, Junior, what are you doing? And they all discover that this entity in front of us that has looked like a fully grown adult is but a child of how long? 7,020 years?
8,000 years.
8,020 years. Yeah, and that he's gotten in trouble in the past for meddling in the affairs of others. And the voice of this ball of light that is this entity's father is none other than John Delancey.
Yes.
Interesting. So, the entity is forced to fix everyone back to the way they were. Everyone's very awkward. Pike tries to come up with a last-minute speech and just basically says, the bar's open. Which after this episode, you kind of feel it. And they all start dancing, drinking and dancing, and it's beautiful, and Spock and La'an are dancing. And then Wham comes on. Wake Me Up Before You Go. Don't know why they chose Wham I don't know why, but that's what was there. They wanted to do the jitterbug, I guess. But we see Erica. Erica is kind of unhappy. She's alone at the wedding. She goes away and she goes to start boxing, and she's really aggressive about it. And she's not right. Something's not right. And she looks at the window, and we see the reflection of a Gorn.
Yep.
Interesting. All right, Wedding Bell Blues. Let's start with the omnipotent elephant in the room. So we speculated on this for a long time, as historically has been speculated, and I think we ourselves on this show have speculated it. This entity is designed to look like Trelane from the original series.
Squire of Gothos.
It is from the Squire of Gothos. He looks like him, but we didn't have anything confirmed. Now, it was speculated when TNG came out that perhaps Trelane was a Q or an offshoot of a Q, but there was never any absolute confirmation of that until now. Because as we reviewed early on in our careers, we reviewed Q2. And we met, actually we've reviewed both Q episodes that we see Q Jr., because we saw the end of the Q in the Gray, where we saw the baby Q. And then we saw Keegan Delancey as Q Jr. And this ball of light that is played by John Delancey refers to the entity as Junior. So it's kind of been confirmed by the creators and the writers of the show that, yes, Trelane is a Q, and that Trelane is Q Jr. What do we think of bringing these universes in a timey-wimey way together?
Has it been confirmed that he's meant to be the same character as Q Jr.?
Yeah, they came out and said so. Yeah.
Oh, and this takes place 200 years before, 100 years before.
But as we know with the Q, like, their existence is cyclical. It's like one giant, not even a loop. Like as Quinn, the Q Quinn said, the road goes up, the road goes back. We've all walked the road. We have walked the road many times, and we're talking about time. And we have seen even John Delancey Q himself, where in season 2, he essentially died at the end with his last act. And yet, we see John Delancey Q again at the end of season 3, and he admits, your understanding of time is pathetic. So, it's fair to say that they would probably go backwards and forwards in time as easily as you and I go up and down the street.
Yeah, the one thing is, when we hear the Q voice,
mm-hmm.
It sounds like a much more responsible Q than the Q that we know.
Well, and if you think to the end of Q2, or Q squared, or whichever way they did that, he had to be more responsible. You know, and he was learning to be a parent. But that Q, by that point, was a lot more responsible. You know, this is the guy that wanted to save the Q continuum. He might have tried to do it in the wrong ways, but he wanted to save the Q continuum. He wanted to bring peace. You know, I think he's very responsible. And he made the deal in order to save Junior that he had eternal custody of the boy. So he's responsible for him for eternity, it seems.
And it's true that in Picard, he's a lot less of a troublemaker in the Picard show.
So far.
He hasn't gotten up to his old mischief.
Well, you know, season 2 was mischievous. It was in a good place. But it could have gone wrong so quickly.
Well, yeah.
Especially at the point when he started losing his abilities to manipulate anything. So, but that's that. I still love that we got to see, you know, that this was confirmed. This return of Trelane. And even if it wasn't confirmed that he was Q, the return of Trelane is amazingly fun.
Yes.
You know, he was such a fascinating character. We never knew anything about him, understood it. And I absolutely love the performance of this entity. So much. Is Rhys Darby.
Rhys Darby.
Yes. Yep. And he is credited officially now as Trelane. And it's been confirmed Trelane is Q Jr.
And those of you might recognize him from Our Flag Means Death.
Mm-hmm.
On HBO, playing the English pirate Stede Bonnet.
He was in Trolls.
Yes, and he's definitely got the energy of the comedian, which is what he is.
Yep. And the second Jumanji movie. Or, well,
yeah.
second
and
to me, anyway.
He's a Kiwi.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
He's from New Zealand. He's from Auckland. Either way, he was so enjoyable and so cheerful. And he's really playing into the part, which I really enjoy that. You know, he is
petulant. He is.
He's very petulant, and he wants his way, and he knows what he wants. And if he doesn't get it, there's going to be a problem.
Very much a brat, like Trelane was in Squire Guffus.
Yeah. When he started throwing his temper tantrum down the aisle,
yeah,
it was like, come on, I don't like it.
But this is fun, seeing the cast all dressed up. That was nice.
Yeah, for a first class dress is fabulous. I love getting to see that.
I don't know about Chapel's wedding dress. That was a bit much.
You! How dare you wear a crown? You're shouting the bride!
Yeah.
Oh, this is so much fun to watch.
Fun. It's so much fun.
It's mischievous. Yeah. And we get introduced to Beto, who is Erica's brother. And he's got a little thing for Uhura.
Yeah. And
which
vice versa.
is cute. It is really cute. Their little relationship.
And Erica can't handle it.
Oh, she hates it. Hates it. But it is adorable.
And we get Lon, looking pretty nice in her.
Mm-hmm. So, to bring this together, this Trelane / Q thing. So, it actually was implied long before this. Actually, in Lower Decks, it was implied. So, Beckett Mariner it wasn't Lower Decks. It was Strange New Worlds. I think it was those old scientists. But Beckett implied that Trelane was a Q during that. And it was probably meant to be jokey at the time. But that was kind of their way of bringing that in more officially. Because here's the thing. What Beckett Mariner has said in the entire series has never been wrong. Exaggerated? Maybe. Irritating and a little forceful sometimes? Well, that's Mariner.
Yeah.
But she tells the truth. And so, if we're to continue that path with her, I believe it. I absolutely believe it. And we all speculated it as fans, so if they're just bringing headcanon into reality, I'm okay with that. I honestly, and it's not going to happen, I would love to see more with these guys. Like, no joke, and not right now in Academy, but again, in the 31st century, I would love to see a Q. I would love to see this happen. And, what's going on and continue that. And Rhys Darby can let Rhys Darby play Rhys Darby again. Let's do it. I don't care. He was so good. It's so fun. He really encapsulated... who played Trelane in the original series?
William Campbell, I think his name was.
You would know better than me. I believe you're right. I do believe it is.
It's Koloff. Yeah, he also...
Oh, that's right! I completely forgot about that. You are absolutely...
Koloff, and
yeah. Forgot about that.
Work on his New York accent to play an English gentleman.
I want to see it brought back, though. He's a really good character. A lot of fun, very impish. And, in a really tough season, and that's a tough season 3, yes. Was to start out with the goofy episode. We knew Rhys Darby was going to be in it. We knew it was going to be a comedy. We didn't know to what extent. And I didn't think they were going to bring in the bigger guest stars until later. That's not normal for them. Usually they'll start reestablishing things as they're going. And we were on a hiatus for a while, waiting for the information about the Gorn.
Yes.
So to come in with the second episode, it was an interesting choice. Not a bad choice, just an interesting one.
Yeah, well, I mean, Strange New Worlds is so great because it's able to do these big shifts in genre without it feeling like it doesn't work. It feels like it works. They can go from a musical to a very heavy Gorn war episode.
I love the little jokes that were throughout here. Little references, too, that were fabulous. Corby Mink's reference that he was threatened that if they didn't go through with it, they were all going to be wished into a cornfield. Now, this took me a little bit. But it's from an episode of The Twilight Zone.
Yes.
I took me a little bit. But I love that. Just little Twilight Zone references in here. I have that actually on my shelf, and I may watch that. But that was a nice touch. Then we got the first live-action appearance of an Adosian.
Oh, yeah, we did. That's right.
Yeah. She joined the crew as their bartender.
Yep, same species as Lieutenant Eric's from the animated series.
Oh, I love that. And I'll tell you, I don't know how they did the tricks with her. I know it's a combination of digital and practical, but I don't care. It was so fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it was great. And I thought we were going to get more with her through the season, but it was still a nice little thing to have a new Adosian. This is only the second Adosian we've ever seen in actual Star Trek until, I'm trying to think. No, I lied. Because there was animated series. We've seen an Adosian briefly in Lower Decks, and I think Prodigy even made reference to the Adosians as well.
Yeah.
But live action Adosian, we'll take that. And even then, when they did the holodeck mystery episode, the Adosian actually has an important part to play in the holodeck mystery.
Yes.
So it was really nice to keep having these little additions, these little things. And all in this episode. And the introduction of Roger Corby to Strange New Worlds. We get a little more with him. He is charming.
Yeah, he is.
I really thought he'd end up being jerkish. And what's sad is we know that Chapel does have that full relationship with Corby.
Yes.
And so I'm kind of sad that we know the Chapel Spock thing is over. Because by the time we get to the original series, those two are together. We know it. So, little sad to see that, that kind of, we don't get any hope of any continuation, because they are cute together.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. All right, final thoughts.
It's just, this is a really fun, entertain. It's not important necessarily to the plot, to the overall plot of season 3.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, is it a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's more character for Spock to at least end that Chapel Spock relationship formally.
That's true. Yes.
We get that, and we get a fun way. But then now we get Spock and La'an, which again feels weird, but it ends up working.
It does. It does.
So that was charming. And she is a fabulous dancer. And I have mentioned on this show before, check out her album on Spotify. Christina Chong has an album on Spotify. Please check it out. It's actually, she's got it more on Spotify, but that's where I found it. And it's she's got a beautiful voice. So she can dance, she can sing, she can act. She's a triple threat.
And she's cute.
She is cute. She is very cute. And I enjoyed it. I love anything Q. Always. Q is fun. But this was just so mischievous and joyful and entertaining. And that's a great way to get going on a season.
Yep.
We'll have more. Alrighty, next week we go, well, ironically, to the original series. Alright, Wheel of Morality, turn. Tell us the season that we should burn. And it's season 1, episode 16, Galileo 7.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Alright, Galileo 7. Cool.
Awesome.
I have not seen that one, but I know that's in reference to the shuttlecraft, right?
Maybe.
Well, I know what the Galileo 7 is, because it was like... So, it's one of those things that I know... transport technology for Roddenberry was created to help not have to deal with shuttle launches. Shuttle launches were expensive. And they had built both models, but also a full-size Galileo 7, and that was expensive. So they only had one shuttle full-size to use. So a lot of times on sets and stuff, when you see shuttle, it's the one shuttle they have, and it was expensive. But I mostly remember the model. That there was a Galileo 7 model that you could build.
I have my Micro Machines one.
Do you? And I also remember, the Hallmark Star Trek ornaments?
Yes.
I remember the Galileo 7 Hallmark ornament as well.
Oh, nice.
So that was another one that I'm like, I remember these things.
Yep.
Anyway. So yeah, we get an episode about the Galileo 7 and what happens, and I'm really, really excited. Anytime I get to go into original series again. So that will be a lot of fun.
Yep.
Brennan, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Blue Sky at brandmar.bluesky.social. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube at Page Turners They Were Not.
You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at cingle1984. You know, I'm about to go watch the reboot of The Muppet Show. We should have Star Trek reboot. I know they have Pigs in Space, The Next Generation. We should have Muppets with Star Trek.
I hope that they do.
I hope there's Pigs in Space. I'm so looking forward to that. But, as always, we end every episode. Pigs in... Alright, no, that's not what we say. Kapla! And live long and prosper.
Peace among